Now on this channel, I'm a huge proponent of homage watches because not everybody can afford the original. But when we're talking about a $40 gold Casio watch, is the $20 homage worth it? Well, today we're looking at this, the SeaGull Casio, I guess, homage to the A168WG. Now, before we even really flip the camera around and get right into the hands-on review, I have to say, I think it's kind of ridiculous when there are homages to already cheaper watches. Now, if you want to get an homage to a Rolex Submariner or an Omega Speedmaster with like something like a Pagani design or an Invicta or something like that, then I always recommend you do that because those are high horology watches that cost thousands and sometimes tens of thousands of dollars. So you don't make the same mistake that I did when I bought the Tudor Black Bay 58 and realized it was too large for my wrist. Now, I should have bought an homage first, worn it on the wrist for about 30 days, and then decided whether or not I was going to spend the $4,000 on the Tudor. I always recommend things like that. But if you have something like this $40 Casio, which somebody like Nico Leonard would say is God tier, then is it worth getting this $20 homage to save yourself $20? Well, let's hop right into the video and let's discuss that as we're doing the hands-on. Now, when you first look at these watches, it's clear that one is impersonating another. And like I explained in the beginning of the video, this one is $40 to $50 on Amazon, and this one is just $20. Why is SeaGull making an homage of an affordable watch? Well, let's see if the SeaGull offers the same value for half the price with just less brand recognition. Now, I already did a review on this one right here, and I will leave a link in the corner if you guys want to check out the original review. Now, let's talk about this SeaGull. Now, if you look at these side by side, you can see that one is, I don't know, it seems like it has a brighter, more luscious gold, and that is going to be the SeaGull. Now, this to me feels more fake than this already fake gold watch with the coloring. So the coloring is just slightly different. This one is more shiny, and this one is less so, even though both cases are high polished. Now, this is the exact same dimensions as the Casio. It is 37 millimeters, so it doesn't fit very high on the wrist, 10 millimeters thick, and it does have a slightly different bracelet. You can see this one is a more classic design, and this is more of an H link. You can see right here the H and then the mid links in between, as opposed to this standard link. I could say this is more vintage, this is more classic in today's design world. Now, everything is the exact same when it comes to the modules. If I cycle through here, you can see that it says alarm and then stopwatch, and then it goes into the actual time adjustment section. If I look at this SeaGull, it goes alarm, stopwatch, and into the time adjustment. So it's nearly the same. If I hit this button, it goes 24 hours. If I hit this button right here, it goes 24 hours. I will say that one of the things I do like more about the SeaGull is I'm a bigger fan of this way of lighting. I just think it looks better, but I think the lume on this looks better than the lume on the Casio. All that being said, what is the point of buying an homage watch that is of a watch that's already affordable? People buy homage watches for watches that are unaffordable, right? Like an homage to a Rolex Submariner and not an homage to a $40 or $50 Casio. I just don't know. I personally would rather have the original Casio. I think the original Casio just looks better. If you look at the gold around the display, that just looks better. The writing on the Casio is just, even though Casios have a lot of writing, it's slightly more subdued. This is a little over the top. You can see 30 meters right there in red, right? This just has the water resistance. You know, it says SNE, right? It's really SKME. Not on this one necessarily, but this is from the SKME direct store. And it does have a lot of the same things, alarm, light. You know, Casios are known to have a lot of writing on, especially their vintage or classic watches. And this, they're trying to do the same thing, but I think it's just more overly done. I think the Casio just looks overall better than the SKME, but I can't just disregard the SKME right off the bat because it is an homage to an already established watch. If you can't afford $40, it's okay to spend the money on this. It does have a similar clasp to the Casio in the fact that this wraps around, hooks on, and clasps in. There's nothing right here that says SKME like the Casio says Casio. And it wears exactly like the Casio does. So is the SKME a good homage to the Casio? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Is the value of this at $20 equivalent to the same value prospect of this $40 to $50 watch? Well, the SKME does offer all the same things that the Casio does. Everything. All the functions are the same. Everything is the same. The module isn't necessarily identical, but it functions the exact same. This has the same time telling as this. I've had them both for a month now, and they tell time within 1 to 2 seconds of each other. So it's just as accurate as the Casio. It doesn't look as good. The gold on the Casio looks definitely better than the SKME. Right? It looks maybe the same on camera, but it doesn't to the human eye, right? I like the face of the Casio better. This just screams a little more high quality, yes, even for a $40 or $50 watch than the SKME. This looks a little cheaper, a little more chintzy. But other than that, does the SKME offer more quality than the Casio? Well, it functions the same, it looks the same, it offers the same stuff. So I don't think it's a bad watch. I'm going to give it to the SKME on this, but if you have the extra money and $40 just isn't going to break the bank, get the Casio first, because it all comes down to the fact that if someone says, hey, what do you wear on your wrist? Do you want to say SKME, or do you want to say, oh, I got a Casio? A Casio is a very established brand, but if you can't afford the Casio, then the SKME, well, it offers the exact same thing. Now, clearly these watches are similar, but not the same. Not exactly the same, right? A lot of homage watches will give you the feel and perception, maybe an oyster style bracelet, 316L stainless steel case, some sapphire crystal on it. Maybe it won't give you the full column wheel chronograph movement inside, but it'll give you like a Seiko Mega Quartz, so you have an idea. But with this one, they're very close. But again, you're better just going off and getting the Casio that has a Casio name. Everybody knows Casio, right? Casio has a history. It has a hat tip and head nod from anybody else in the watch community. The one thing you don't want to do is look down at your wrist and say, oh yeah, this is a SKME. Now, if you don't have the $40 or $50 to get the Casio, should you get the SKME if you don't really care about the name? Sure. Sometimes saving money is saving money. I'm going to be doing a video in the future that all watch purchases outside of your phone is considered a luxury purchase because we don't need watches anymore. And sometimes people get really caught up on the luxury brand of, oh, it has to be thousands of dollars, it has to be tens of thousands of dollars, it's not considered a luxury watch. But sometimes just saving $20 is a luxury in itself because we all don't make a lot of money. Some of us are lower middle class, some of us are poor, some of us are middle class, some of us make $1 million a year. That's not me, but some of us in the world do. And sometimes saving $20 may mean eating or not eating. But at that point, should you be buying a watch? Not necessarily. But maybe you're buying a watch because you're going to an interview and you want to give the perception of accountability because you have a watch on your wrist. And you don't have the $40 or $50 to spend, so you buy a Skimmy instead. I would say that's okay. So though I would say buy the Casio, I understand why some people aren't in the position to buy the Casio, which is cheap already, but sometimes people aren't in the position to buy that and you need something anyway that will still get you by, and the Skimmy will at half the price. I would say just save a little longer, get the Casio, but we all live different lives and we all have different decisions to make on a daily basis. Now, if you like videos like this, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment of the content you guys would like to see. On this channel, a lot of videos coming up in the future. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Remember, at 15,000 subscribers on this channel, I'll be doing a giveaway of my subscribers who participate in these videos for a Tissot PRX Powermatic automatic watch. That'll be coming here soon, hopefully. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get us there faster, and I'll see you in the next one.